Language teaching methods. Grammar translation, direct method, and audiolingual method. This 5-part video series will look at some of the most common language teaching methods and approaches. This first video will discuss the grammar translation method, the direct method, and the audiolingual method. These are what Lightbound and Spada call get it right from the beginning approaches. The focus is on accuracy from the beginning, and little attention is ever given to fluency. The grammar translation method is pretty much as old as language learning. It teaches grammar point on top of grammar point. It encourages translation of the vocabulary back and forth between target language and native language. Mistakes are corrected frequently because it's feared that it'll be more difficult to fix later on. And very little time is spent on listening and speaking. Writing and reading received virtually all of the attention. The direct method is similar to the grammar translation method, but the difference is that it discourages translation. It expects all instruction and learning to occur in the target language. Students in this class might be asked to donate a quarter every time they speak in their native language, or some other manner is used to discourage speaking in their native language. While research today clearly shows that there is significantly more benefit to allowing the first language into the L2 classroom than there is damage from it. In fact, forcing students to only use the target language slows down the acquisition process. So the direct method definitely needs some adjustments made to it. The audiolingual method was ironically an attempt to overcome the weaknesses of the grammar translation method. Students would begin speaking the language from the very first lesson. Unfortunately, what they really were doing was repeating what they heard. If they spent time in pair work, it was to read a dialogue together. No opportunity for true communication was given. There was an assumption that if students repeated a grammar point enough, then they would be able to use it outside of the classroom. This method was extremely popular for a couple of decades, but it was totally rejected when it became clear that mindless practice seldom led to proficiency. In my opinion, this method lost too much credibility, so that many instructors removed all repetition from the classroom. However, we know from brain research that automating vocabulary and chunks of language, also known as phrases, allows the brain to focus on more important areas of meaning or new information coming in. One way of creating this automaticity is through meaningful repetition as opposed to mindless repetition. Chants and songs have built-in useful repetition. Asking the same question to several different students and then asking the whole class to answer is another way to provide repetition. You can create activities where learners move around the classroom and repeat the same sentence or question with each classmate. Well, hopefully you get at least some idea of the difference between meaningful and mindless repetition. In summary, this video looked at grammar translation, direct method, and audiolingualism. It also offered some ideas for meaningful repetition in order to assist the brain's automaticity process. Let me point out that all 3 methods are successful with some students. These types of accuracy-heavy models benefit learners with high IQs. Average and low IQs, however, will struggle with these methods, usually.